would like to thank you first because as we are recording, it's the 10th of March, and I live in Brisbane, Australia, and we've just been through a direct impact cyclone. And as you can see, there's no water streaming through my house. I have
praise the goddess.
Yeah, I have full power. And when Lalitha was contacting me to make sure this podcast was still going ahead, I said, well, I have done my angelic protection for the block. And I've also had the privilege of having a podcast episode with an expert who knows about trees and rocks. And we moved a lot of stuck energy off the greater property that I was on, including the souls of all sorts of beings that I had thought I'd cleared, but there was another level. And then so I did that, and I did the angels, and then I said to Lalitha, what else should I do? And she said, well, you should pray to Durga and how do you pronounce the next one? Muruga?
Muruga, yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so in the middle of the night, when we got our shelter in place, warning on the phone, and I had to get my 2 teenage boys, and we went into my walk-in robe, and we lay down with all the pillows and the blankets and the food, and we managed to go to sleep. I chanted my way to sleep, chanting those 2 names. And guess what? We're fine. So thank you, Lalitha.
Yes.
And thank you to those God and Goddess.
Always let's thank the divine and the celestial beings who are available now more than ever. We know, everybody knows we're waking up. Everybody has probably heard our frequencies on the earth plane are accelerating at an unprecedented rate, right? So we're all like on the verge of evolving more and more, but also changing dimension. And that takes a lot, right? It takes some shock, it takes some nudging, and it takes also some deliberate choice. So the beings are here, whether we recognize them or not. But I believe that they are so benevolent that it's in our best interest to communicate with them. And we have a lot of literature on that in every tradition, particularly in the Vedic tradition, because the Vedic tradition is very, very close to these beings. They are not theoretical, they're not just archetypes, although they are. But Muruga, for example, we were mentioning him, is from the Pleiades star cluster. And the story is very clear. He came to Tamil Nadu, they say, the rishis, 1 million years ago. Very clear with a precise date. He came from the Pleiades, and the Pleiadian beings were on the earth plane, and they helped us. That's it. And they're very benevolent, and they care about us and the earth. So we shouldn't mess with the earth either. I've had the same experience as you. I forget how many years ago. I believe it was 2015. We had Sandy, a hurricane in New York City and also New York State. It was called Sandy, infamous Sandy. And there was a lot of destruction. And I lived in Westchester County with 7 million homes. I believe only 300,000 retained their electricity. But in my area, my street, I was the only one. Why? We were chanting on the phone in a group call. We were chanting Muruga mantras. These are very powerful sound waves. And because Muruga cares about the earth plane, he specifically mentioned when there's a natural calamity, the risk of a natural calamity. So he takes care of the environment as well as protecting us and giving us victory in some kind of situation where we need to win for good reasons, though. We can't trick Muruga. He knows what we're up to. And so we were chanting mantras, and literally as soon as we said this mantra, I could hear the wind dropping. And then I would stop just to test it. I tested it at least 20 times because I was very hard-nosed back then. Even now I need evidence. And then, so I would stop and hear nothing. And then the wind would pick up again. And so I started to chant again, and it would drop and would be calm. We didn't lose a tree or a branch. Maybe there was a little bit of something. The electricity was there, no damage to the house or the garden. The street was devastated. The people lost their electricity. Literally, there were trees down all over town. Power lines were down. It was like an earthquake. But our most of my street was okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do you think, and do you understand that it's the continual chanting that is required? I mean, from my perspective, I've learned a lot through you. Before I met you, I didn't think that you could approach this knowledge, this Vedic knowledge and these beings, unless you were Hindu or a yogi yourself. But what I've learned through reading your books and having you is that that's not the truth. You don't have to be,
True. These are universal teachings. They're not religious. The rishis and yogis don't have a religion. They have universal teachings. I believe a lot is extraterrestrial, but they themselves have existed on the earth plane in an uninterrupted lineage, the Siddhas of Tamil Nadu, for 50,000 years. And that is validated by various, archaeological sites and histories of different branches of the Vedas. They all say the same thing. And we have pretty much historical evidence at that point. When you find the cities, you find the same stories and myths everywhere. This is a recorded history that was not recorded, that was either suppressed or lost throughout the centuries and millennia, actually. So yes, these beings are very powerful. And I believe what you said, that actually for just keeping an awareness of them can be enough. But sound waves are very powerful because our brain responds, and we have lots of testing. Harvard University, Harvard Medical School. My guru did teacher. I say guru because in India we call him guru, but he's a teacher. And he has done a lot of research with various brain institutes in this country and also with Harvard Medical School. And our brain responds to those sounds. So we ourselves are protecting ourselves. Right? We are divine too.